go fast.
"20 minutes ago, an energy source knocked out power across the entire Pacific Northwest. This means someone who can figure out exactly what we're dealing with." "You're not suggesting who I think you're suggesting." "We have no choice."
What the?
Are you in charge here?
Yes, I am.
Nope! Wrong!
No.
I'm in charge! Allow me to clarify. And it's likely vicariously based on a level of critical importance. The disparity between is fast to quantify. Agent Stone.
The doctor thinks you're basic.
Listen, pal, I don't know if you realize who...
I'm sorry, Major. What was your name?
Benning...
Nobody cares!
Hello, fellow geeks and nerds. It is I, Daniel, but you may call me the Pop Culture Dude. And I know what you're gonna say, like, oh, the trailer already just came out yesterday on November 12th, and you're just a day late. Look, yesterday was my birthday, and literally, I just didn't have time to do it. I was just too busy celebrating my birthday, and thanks a lot, Disney Plus, for distracting me from making the Sonic movie trailer. But, oh boy, Paramount, I love you, and I love the crew who made the Sonic movie since the beginning. They start production at around last summer of 2018, so... The Sonic movie trailer got released with a very new trailer on my birthday, so that's why I say I love you, Paramount, for releasing that trailer on my birthday. I gotta say, this, of course, new Sonic movie trailer that I'm about to watch, this probably might be one of the best birthday gifts that I could have. And honestly, like what I said, I'm really so hyped for this movie. Of course, we already heard the story, like, back then. It, of course, got delayed just because the original design, of course, everyone didn't like it, even though for me, honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Don't get me wrong. I did not like how the eyes were, like, so humanoid, and then the human-looking teeth, and the way that he has white furry hands, and, you know, it's kind of disturbing, especially with wearing Pumas. It was, of course, a selling brand, and it doesn't look like Sonic. It kind of looks like a blue furry version of Chuck E. Cheese, but eventually decided to go, like, in a wild rampage, and you know what I mean. It's just that he doesn't look accurate as Sonic, but I was okay with it. But until then, everyone else, like the majority of the audience, even people who aren't Sonic fans, they still bash off, of course, the new original design of Sonic. But after that, we already know director Jeff Fowler decided to, like, delay the movie, and it's very rare that we got a studio actually listening to the criticism, the big criticism that was spread worldwide, including on social medias, and of course, it usually got teased on, and now they're thinking, says the Sonic design in the original, of course, cut, people think, like, no one's going to see our movie just because people didn't like how we used Sonic design, because executive producer Tim Miller, aka the director of the first Deadpool movie, is an executive producer in this movie. And he was originally their plan was to make Sonic to make it a little bit realistic, which is kind of creepy in a way. And that's why it wasn't really much of a good idea in the start, because the way that we see Sonic right here, he's more animated, he's more fluid, he has more of a good facial expression. He's not supposed to be like a faux realistic animal like the Lion King remake, but the fact is, the one things that they tease about this new design is both from Ben Schwartz, yes, the voice of Sonic, and I'm gonna get to this, but it starts out with Tim Miller saying, "Have you seen the redesign?" And he says, "In fact, I have," and I think the fans will be pleased. And before we get to that, when some fans just asked him during a Jeff Q&A, he responded with Jim Carrey Bruce on mine by saying, "It's good." Good, of course. And another thing is, I am a huge fan of Sonic, and I am a huge Jim Carrey fan. And the fact is, he's my favorite movie actor of all time. He's the one that inspired me with acting and inspired my sense of humor in the first place. So when I heard announced that he's actually gonna play Dr. Eggman, I just went bouncing out the wall. I was like, yes, it filled that body, exorcise the demons. This house is clear. If you don't know that, that's a reference to one of his iconic, of course, roles, which is Ace Ventura. Like, don't worry, ma'am, Ace will find your pussy. That is. So, yeah, the one of the things is, I'm so excited that he's playing the Eggman, and I'm just saying, oh boy, he's definitely gonna be, like, the best highlight of the movie. And for Ben Schwartz, just perfect voice casting when it comes to celebrity. Like, in the original trailer, yes, the design was trash, but I hear Sonic. I don't hear, like, an actor just funning in with the lines. I'm looking at you, Scooby-Doo 2020 with Shaggy. But the point is, hopefully, like, we get to more line delivery, and like I said, hopefully the trailer does this, because I'm so stoked for this movie. I mean, if this movie wasn't delayed, then it would have been out in theaters on November 8th, which could have been a nice birthday gift, but Paramount decided to be like, hey, let's just put this on November 12th, which is a perfect day since it's my birthday. So, as a belated birthday gift that I'm about to do right now, let's just get straight to the reaction right away. Anyway, let's do this. Gotta go fast!
I'm Sonic.
Green Hills!
Ball of super energy.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful!
Package. On my planet, people were always after my powers.
I knew it! I knew it! That's how he got from her. From Ray. A Flash comic book!
Okay. I am living my best life on Earth.
Whoa, Hilltop Road. Oh, that's cute. Was that a reference to Ninja Turtles?
Sonic. Let the bitches mount all
Man, he just nails Sonic's attitude. I did the same thing as a kid, so no hard feelings. Man, the way that he runs, the visual effects art is awesome. Meow? Oh, he's not saying it? Ooh. Sega! Classic Sonic.
They're coming for me.
This music.
With my power, they could conquer the universe. You have to help me. No, I don't. Please.
Please, do it for Sonic. Super Sonic. Yes!
Rural chum, Mr. Dr. Robotnik.
Dr.
I'm going to give you
Robotnik.
5 seconds.
Seconds.
What is?
Reminds me of Ace Ventura. That reminds me of the Grinch in Liar Liar where he screams like that.
Stop the car right now. What? The world's largest rubber band ball?
What?
No, this is not some fun family road trip.
Oh my god.
It was lame. Give me that was cool though.
Oh man, this is good. This isn't too good. Valentine's Day. Whatever this creature is. I knew he was gonna say that. Is he gonna dance to Everybody Dance now? He's dancing to a Ramon song. Blitzky Pop. Latte joke.
Like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk. Of course I want a latte.
I love the way you make them.
We gotta lay low.
Oh man, I'm loving this. Let's go.
So should we get out of here?
I heard there was gonna be a bar scene, so it's no surprise. Whoa, that shot was pretty good. Oh, let's go. We're bumping in the straight line. Go.
You're not dead.
I have no idea.
At least he's not doing the floss. Once again, the Grinch, Ace Ventura, Liar Liar vibes.
That was an illegal left, by the way.
That was a legal left, by the way.
Keep him.
Let's keep up.
You've got car insurance, right?
Was that a reference to Progressive?
Why would you throw your life away for this silly little alien?
Good time.
He's my friend.
Friends don't quit.
This is my power.
Wow. Was that a reference to Sonic Adventure 2? The Wall. Sonic Unleashed. Whoa. This is the Sonic that I grew up with. Fighting for my friends. Bow, now, 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 now.
You're supposed to be Tom's best friend that he won't shut up about.
Who is it? A dog. Man's best friend.
Gross. Let's go.
I am so sold on this movie. Oh my gosh. Look, you don't understand, like, as a kid, I've been waiting so long for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie to happen, and here it is. And I gotta say, I don't care who you are, I don't care what you say, if you're gonna say, oh, the design looks good, but the movie still looks like trash. I mean, look at this. Sonic just came from a planet, and now he's in the real world. We've seen this story trope all over. Let's put fictional characters in the real world. They did this with the Smurfs and Enchanted. Let's make this another fish out of water storyline, or Hedgehog out of water storyline, or whatever storyline that we want to make. Look, I get it. We have this story way too many times before, but for this movie, it works. And I like the fact that when I first saw the Green Hill sign, I thought, I'm like, wait a minute, so you're telling me Sonic lived on Earth this entire time, but no Green Hills Town? I'm like, oh, but man, it turns out he is from a different world. That's why when Jim Carrey's Eggman's like, why would you risk his life to save this little silly alien? And that kind of makes sense. Like, why is there an anamorphic talking hedgehog talking to a dog by saying, you're, of course, you're Tom's best friend, so he won't shut up about. And oh my god, this trailer is so good. Oh, like I said, the beginning from Green Hill, so I'm like, it looks so amazing from the amazing CGI and the way that Sonic is running. And I kind of hear a little bit of a Green Hills music when he's like zooming, running around like do 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 do. And the fact that, of course, the fact that he's reading a lot of Flash comics, this is gonna be so hilarious. Like in the last trailer where he's like, look at this, I took 9 million steps today. He was like going in slow motion like Quicksilver in the X-Men movies, and now he's gonna do it Flash because there's literally electricity like every time that usually like just runs by, and I just find that pretty clever. And I like the fact that he just says like, even though I'm just living a life on my own, but I still enjoy it, be like, I can relate to Sonic, and that's one of the reasons why I just love Sonic the Hedgehog, because sometimes we just want to be free-spirited, and the fact that he doesn't have any friends, so basically if you're expecting, where's Tails? Where's my Uganda brother Knuckles? Where's Shadow? Where's Silver? Or even Big the Cat or Amy Melstein? Well, the thing is, I think this movie is supposed to be a new origin story of how we get to know Sonic the Hedgehog and how we get to the legend himself. Jim Carrey as Dr. Ivo Robotnik, snooping as usual, I see. He better say that in the movie. Please, 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 please. And the fact that he's playing the Eggman. Now we get to see, and I see that we're seeing the evolution of his character from ego Dr. Ivo Robotnik to full Eggman, like in the first trailer where we see like the bald, of course, head and the mustache as well. The fact is, it's so clear that we're seeing like a good evolution, like we see the villain, kind of like we see how we see the evolution of Dr. Otto Octavius to Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man PlayStation 4. And the fact is, I'm so glad this is the Jim Carrey that I grew up as a kid, and I'm so glad that he's going back to his comedic roots. And that's why I got inspired in acting and a sense of humor of it, from his high top, over the top energy, but also from his comedic timing, from of course physically, but also verbally as well. And the thing is, I'm so glad that he's finally making a comeback in his career. Ever since Dumb and Dumber 2, if you guys see that movie, say all you want about it. If you say it's trash, it doesn't live up to the first Dumb and Dumber film, but I still enjoyed that sequel anyway, even though Jim Carrey is not a fan of sequels. That's why there's no Mask 2, because The Mask is my favorite Jim Carrey movie of all time, and I wish he does a sequel, but the reason why he doesn't want to do sequels because he feels like there's not that much new material that he can get to his roles. He doesn't like the fact that he doesn't want to be part of a franchise, and the fact that he doesn't want to like repeat his roles. He just wants to move on to new things, which I understand. But if it's like the iconic characters like Ace Ventura, The Mask, or maybe even Dumb and Dumber, but the fact that you're playing Eggman and he's literally based on a video game franchise, just expect, of course, a little bit of the role. But still, it kind of reminds me, since Jim Carrey's a huge Beatles fan, and I remember like back in the 90s, he was singing this cover of the Beatles where he goes, I am the Eggman, they are the Eggman, I am the Warriors. That kind of like foreshadow his roles of becoming the Eggman as well. And that's one of the things, like, he is definitely gonna knock out the park. He's obviously the number one reason why I want to go see the Sonic movie. Not just because it's a Sonic movie. Of course, a lot of people could say it's got like, oh, it's live action. You know, video game movies and live action don't go back. I mean, yeah, we got plenty of bad ones, like the Super Mario Bros. Movie in 1993 that we shall not talk about. But the fact is, when Detective Pikachu came out, even though I thought it was an okay movie, and spoiler alert, I just didn't like the fact that Ryan Reynolds was in Pikachu's body all this time, and eventually the dad of this, of course, boy, who's named Tim Goodman, played by Justice Smith. But other than that, I think it was an okay film, but it was at least close enough to break the video game first. But I'm sorry, I'm so sick and tired of everyone trashing my boy Sonic, and this movie is definitely gonna let Sonic, like, have his time to shine. And sure, he is popular in gaming communities, but the thing is, he's no Marvel, he's no Star Wars, which obviously owned by Disney. And making this movie, this is definitely gonna get the general audience public. I mean, I see, of course, the simple premise of the story that Sonic is, like, out of his world just because everyone's, like, catching over his rings, which is obviously also to Dr. Robotnik's plans, but also teaming up with this human character named Officer Tom, who basically needs his help since the government is usually chasing after him. And that's why, even though he's trying to like live his wild free and live and learn and get around on the edge of tomorrow. Okay, I'm expecting, of course, even though I love the song choices and we will get to that, but I'm just hoping just play at least one song, just one song from the Sonic games that I would be pleased. Like I said, live and learn, or follow me, set me free, it doesn't matter now what happens, or of course some other song like endless possibility, and most importantly, I am the Eggman, that's what I am. I'm like, come on. Basically, like, I'm a huge fan of course, most of the Sonic songs by Crush 40, and just play at least one of them. But speaking of song choices, oh my god. Okay, I told you I'm a huge fan of Sonic, I'm a huge fan of Jim Carrey, but guess what? I am a huge Ramones fan, and they're playing Blitzkrieg Bop, and that's the most iconic Ramones songs. And if you've been watching the current MCU Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, they play Ramones songs for both of those films. In Spider-Man Homecoming, they play the exact same song, like, we're bumping in the street, like, and then in Spider-Man Far From Home, they play I Wanna Be Sedated, like 24 hours ago, I wanna be sedated, and I wanna be a boyfriend. And the fact is, every time I think of the Ramones, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna think of Spider-Man every single time I'm gonna think of. But now, since it's being played in a Sonic movie, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad this band, my favorite punk rock band of all time, from the 70s to the 80s to the 90s, yes, that's how long their band lasted. But the fact is, it's being both played on both Spider-Man and Sonic, both of my childhood properties that I grew up with and love from this day on. Those are the three looks I love, of course, completely combined as well. And like I said, I'm just really excited for this movie. Like, it looks so amazing. Sonic's design just looks so good. Of course, people say, oh, he has blue arms. Sonic's not supposed to have blue arms. I'm like, first off, I don't really care. And second, didn't we see, like, Sonic Boom, where he basically has blue arms, where he has, like, the cast? And yes, we can make fun of it like it's toilet paper all we want. But I'm definitely okay for having blue arms, especially the fact that it's fur. So if you put, like, 10 and then he has, like, fur arms all over it, I don't really care about that, and it's gonna be weird if you think about it, but I'm glad he has some gloves. And one of my complaints is I don't mind the eyes being separated, but make it at least big enough to look like Sonic, and they fixed that. And one of the things I'm actually surprised, because the original trailer that spawned a lot of memes, which was meow, but they cut it, but with Sonic just holding a tiny ring with and then he eventually screams, and now his teeth doesn't look great for you. So good job, Sonic has a good dentist appointment that he eventually just fixes his teeth. And the fact is, one of the things I just like about this, even though most of you say it's cheesy, I'm like, oh great, Sonic's gonna make friends with this Officer Tom, and Tails is looking back, am I a joke to you, Sonic? So basically, I just like the fact when Eggman's saying, like, why are you protecting this alien? Until then, Officer Tom, who's played by James Marsden. And like I said, I like James Marsden. He's a pretty underrated actor. He can be funny sometimes if you watch his movies like Enchanted, even though it's very ironic that he's teaming up with mostly CGI talking animals in Enchanted and Hop. And especially when I saw him talking to Sonic inside the truck, it kind of gives me a little bit of a Hop vibe. But I think the Sonic movie will be better than that. Even an Alvin the Chipmunks, of course, vibe, where he literally goes on a road trip with a human being to a bar, and that reminds me of Alvin and the Chipmunks 4. And then, obviously, the Smurf trope, like, of course, this blue character just came from a different world and then goes to the human world. Sure, we've seen these tropes before, but with good writing and the good execution, it could possibly be good as well. But back to that, when he eventually just says, because he's my friend, and I'm like, this is really getting me into the feels, because basically, Sonic doesn't have any friends. Since this is a new origin story, even though there are some nostalgic nods to Sonic, especially from Green Hills to that Bennett that's literally the Sonic logo, because, you know, he goes, din, 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 in the classic games. And the reason why I shouted is that a Ninja Turtles reference, because Ben Schwartz voiced Leonardo in the Ninja Turtles reboot, and obviously he voices Dewey Duck in the DuckTales reboot, and now he's voicing Sonic. And it's really hilarious that Ben Schwartz, in his Twitter account, he actually acknowledges this meme, of course, that he's voicing 3 blue characters, and it's basically a Thanos joke. He says, this may be around the internet, only 3 more blue character stones to go until I can finally snap my fingers and live as a garden with a scarecrow. That's what Thanos did, right? If someone know who made this, please give them credits in the comments. And I'm like, that's really funny that he's really self-aware. And like I said, give props to Ben Schwartz. And like I said, I already told you, like, the blue cartoon character he's also voiced. I also watched, of course, a few episodes of Park Recreation, and his character, John Ralphie, was pretty hilarious. But I gotta say, even though my biggest concern of the Sonic movie is like, oh great, they're going to cast celebrities to play these characters, aren't they? And that was my problem that I have with the Scooby-Doo animated film. But for Sonic, the only 2 Sonic characters are only Sonic and Eggman, and like I said, perfectly cast with Ben Schwartz and Jim Carrey. Okay, first I'm going to talk about why Ben Schwartz is perfect and why my favorite actor, Jim Carrey, is also perfect as well. The reason why I think Ben Schwartz is such a perfect choice for Sonic, first off, he grew up with Sonic, he knows about Sonic, and he loves Sonic, and the thing is, he nails the voice as well, from his attitude and his delivery. Like, I don't hear a celebrity just pretend to be Sonic, I hear Sonic. This is Sonic the Hedgehog who I'm seeing on the screen, where he says, I gotta go protect my friends. This is the Sonic I know. I think Ben Schwartz, in my opinion, is just as good as Ryan or Jason. And surprisingly, I could be pretty biased. I find him better than Roger Craig Smith, who's currently voicing Sonic in the games. And honestly, even though there's no way that Ben Schwartz could voice Sonic in the games because he's way too expensive and he's a pretty busy guy, but honestly, I just think, like, his voice actually fits more for Sonic than what Roger did. But I'm so glad that Ben Schwartz recently just tweeted about his thoughts on the Sonic movie, and all the fans respond by saying, here it is, the new Sonic movie. I continue to be beyond excited and honored to voice this beautiful blue bird. A lot of incredibly talented people who care about this franchise very much, and such a fun movie coming on February 14th. And I'm like saying, I'm so glad that he's actually honored, and screw Valentine's Day, because me and my cousin Gabriel, if you don't know who he is, we both love Sonic the Hedgehog as we growing up. He's my co-partner in my channel, Woody and Daffy Duck, which is my plush channel. But the point is, and from that fan-made trailer that I eventually just made you earlier, it's basically, he was role-playing as Sonic and I was role-playing as Eggman. We're gonna do that, and whoever made that video, it was the Golden Gamer, so shout out to him. And of course, we're gonna do the exact same thing, like redub the whole second Sonic movie trailer. But the point is, we're gonna do a similar thing of watching the Sonic movie, since what we did with Toy Story 4, where he wear a buzz mask and I dress as Woody in the movie theater, and there's a lot of kids and parents like taking pictures, and we stayed in character in theaters. And the fact is, since I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, I love his performance as Eggman. Like, the fact that if you need an over-the-top comedic character, and I like his own original take on it, of course it's not like the, get a load of this, you moronic hedgehog, like Mike Pollock's Eggman, even though he would be a good live-action fit, but obviously I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan. He's definitely going to be the best part about this movie. I remember back at CinemaCon, like, back in April of 2019, where he's like eating a bucket of popcorn and he was making a lot of like jokes of like, this movie should be really about me. How about call it Robotnik Conquers the World or Eggman Hard Boiled? And then the CEO of Paramount says, Sonic's the real hero. And then I like that Jim Carrey responds, this movie is nothing without me, which is a fact, because way before everyone was backlashing the movie, everyone's just saying, I'm just going to watch the movie just because of Jim Carrey's performance as Eggman. And like we said, that's another reason too, but I just love the cast. And Jeff Fowler, of course, I have to say, even though this is your first movie, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through this backlash, but I'm so glad that you guys are really respectful and you actually care about the fans. And the reason why I'm so glad that this, in my opinion, might be my favorite video game movie adaptation of all time, and I think it might be faithful to me because, first off, these guys care about making a Sonic movie. It's not like, oh, let's just make the worst video game movie. Let's just make it like lazy writing, lazy plot, lazy acting, and just ruin everyone's childhood of making, of course, let's follow the trend of every single video game movie is always bad. I'm so glad that the CEO of Paramount is aware of that. So they put so much heart and so much care, of course, how much of making, like, how much the Sonic the Hedgehog means to a lot of fans. So I had to give props for them. And even though I was kind of like iffy of them delaying the movie, but I'm glad that people in Paramount care. So when I heard when they make a live action Sonic movie by Sony, basically the guy that butchered the Spider-Man franchise back then, but when Sony had their hands on the Sonic movie franchise, the fact that they're saying like, oh, let's just make Sonic movie every single year just like Spider-Man so we can make an oversaturated franchise. And I think the movie would have been a disaster if that happened. They would have just rushed productions, and that's why Sony just cares about money. And I'm so glad they decided to delay that production to Paramount, even though Sega is not involved with the movie at all, except for like giving like a couple advice for like the people at Paramount to work on the Sonic movie. But it's really interesting that they're actually just giving it a love letter from what Sega did. And now I know why the Sonic actually looks good, because you want to know why, who eventually helped them to make Sonic's design better? It was none other than the Sonic media artist Tyson Hasty, and he's the one who's responsible for making Sonic look good. I mean, it kind of makes sense because in his Twitter account he literally just posted a Tony Stark meme where he's about to say, I am Iron Man, and it's kind of like a surprise, like, I am responsible for the new Sonic design, and I just find that really cool as well. So this, like I said, I'm just so excited for this movie. This is going to be the most anticipated movie that I'm going to see in 2020 for sure. And I just said, it's just very fun and, of course, very, of course, action-packed. And the fact that it has so much, of course, acknowledgments, like nostalgic nods, like when he's running onto the bridge at the Great Wall of China, reminds me of Sonic Adventure, and going to a warp ring where he has to go like different dimensions. It kind of reminds me of the classic Sonic games, but also Sonic Mania. But also, every time, like in the modern games, you have to stop by this goal ring, and eventually that's when you succeeded. But like I said, I like the classic Sonic and the Sega opening. If the only way to make that Sega opening better is saying Sega, and then I'll be good. But the point is, like I said, I'm just really excited. And like I said, well, I'm gonna, of course, one of my favorite points that I mentioned the latte joke. Me and my cousin Gabriel, when we went to MegaCon 2018, we see this Eggman cosplayer, and my cousin Gabriel was doing like his impression of Sonic and Eggman. We just made a joke like, Eggman, what are you doing here? Oh, Sonic, I'm not taking over the world. I'm just gonna go find my latte. Now, where can I find it? And I'm so glad that our latte joke actually becomes a reality in the Sonic movie, where Jim Carrey's Eggman was dancing to Blitzky Buff. I thought it was going to be Everybody Dance Now, but I was actually fine with it. But still, playing a Ramones song in a Sonic movie, just perfect. Way more fitting than Gangster's Paradise. But the fact that he got interrupted by his assistant, Agent Stone, about his cocoa, it reminds me of The Grinch and Liar Liar when he says, of course I love of course I love your latte. I love the way you make them! It just made me like burst into laughter, especially when he says, I'll of course give you 5 seconds to bring him in. Like, it kind of gives me like an Ace Ventura vibe in it, especially where he's screaming like at Sonic for the first time, like, ah! It kind of reminds me in The Grinch where he was like screaming in front of Cindy Lou Who, like, ah! The Grinch! Cindy Lou Who falls. Well, that worked out nicely. And it reminds me of Liar Liar when he's just yelling like the fact that he cannot lie for 24 hours just because of his son's birthday wish. It kind of reminds me when he yells a lot where he says, and the truth shall set you free. me! And that's what I'm saying, like, this is 90s Jim Carrey that I grew up with, and it's so glad that he's coming back in his career from his TV show Kidding. Please go watch that show. It's a pretty underrated show. But in big screen, as in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I'm just definitely looking forward to that. And the fact is, even though it's way too early to say this, and we gotta see how this movie does well, but if this Sonic movie decides to go very well at the box office, but also a critical success, that means both critics and audiences love the Sonic movie, I honestly want a Sonic movie trilogy, like a live-action Sonic movie series of these, because I want sequels to be made. Because if this is going to be like a new origin story, like a new original take of both Sonic and Eggman, and how the origin story takes, and the fact that Sonic doesn't have that much friends, and his only friends is obviously Officer Tom, which is basically the cop that usually had to save Sonic around. And I'm kind of glad that this feels like a good buddy road trip type of film. That's why I'm saying I'm going to have fun with this. But for sequels, there's so many possibilities that they could do with it. Like, for the sequel, I obviously want Sonic to get like most of his other friends. If he does go back home in Green Hills, I bet he does. And I see that Jim Carrey's Eggman went to this mushroom island that looks like Mushroom Hill Zone from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And if he does, then I'm like, maybe the sequel, they could use Tails, Knuckles, or Amy, or Metal Sonic. Those are my request characters for the sequel. But the thing is, you gotta have really good celebrity voice cast to do this, because if they have to choose Knuckles for the sequel, I think John Cena will be a perfect fit, because his voice could really fit like, Sonic, you can't see me. Yeah, I can, Knuckles. And that's why I just imagined that. And I don't know who will be a good perfect for Tails. Maybe Tara Song or Fred. I'm just kidding. Like, Sonic, look, cabbages. It'll be so cringe, but like I said, I want sequels to be made, and maybe if they make a third one, I want it to be featured like Shadow and Silver, and then boom, that's our live-action Sonic movie trilogy. And like I said, most people said, oh, this is going to be the next Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom, this movie franchise said. But we've been waiting 28 years. Sure, Sonic is the fastest thing alive, but he has the slowest movie production schedule. But a lot of people said, oh, the upcoming animated Mario movie is going to be better just because the creator of Mario, Shigeru Miyamoto, is involved in the production. While for Sega, it's definitely like the complete opposite as well. So, like I said, like, I don't care who you are, this is going to be my most anticipated movie in 2020. And I'm going to watch it with my cousin on Gabriel Valentine's Day. Screw relationships, and that's why I'm grateful to be single. But if you are a girl who really loves me so much, if you live here locally where I live, then maybe we should go on Valentine's Day. But if not, who cares? Because I'm going to cosplay as Jim Carrey's Eggman, eventually put on some goggles with my brown bushy mustache, my Monopoly-looking mustache. I'll be yelling at a concession stand and yell for a latte. But still, that's just saying, like, this is what we're going to do for the movie theater. This is my most hyped Sonic the Hedgehog movie, of course, in theaters 2020. Sorry to all to the exciting movies of 2020, but Sonic is going to be my number one. It's going to be my most exciting one. So, I've been talking way too long. There's just so many things I have to say, but I'm just going to wrap things up, like, I'm just really excited for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Thank you for giving me a Sonic movie that I love. Perfect cast, and of course the action sequences just look good, and I think I'm gonna have like really nostalgic and emotional feels by watching this. So anyway, that's it for today's video. So thank you for liking and subscribing, and thank you for wishing me a happy late birthday. Now, well, excuse me, now I gotta go fast. Somebody stop me!